Well, India just introduced a new education policy. Here we are going to discuss everything that is new in it. Hello folks, this is Tejasvi back with another video. Well, the Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved a new education policy. Here we are going to discuss everything that is new about it. Well, as you can see guys, National Education Policy 2020. The Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved the new education policy and renamed the Ministry of Human Resource and Development as the Ministry of Education. The new policy would also see an overhaul of the system in place for higher education. Well, here are the important points, folks. Well, when we are talking about class 12th. Well, here, as you know, there were three fields that you could choose from: medical, non-medical, and commerce, humanities, etc. Now you can mix and match subjects from each field. For example, you like physics but don't like chemistry, and you would like to study for example history along with your physics and maths. You can do that now. Earlier it wasn't an option. Earlier you were confined to the subjects in that particular core field. Like if you're doing non-medical, you had to study physics, chemistry, maths. If you were doing medical, you only could study physics, chemistry, biology. Well, now you can mix and match. That's a good thing. Well, another thing, folks, is that board exams will only test core competencies. Board exams are becoming modular and will take place twice a year. Well, then another change is that there is a 3-language policy to continue with preference for local language. Well, yes folks, you can study in your own regional language. For example, your regional language is Marathi or Telugu for that case. You can study in that particular language and give the exam also in that particular language. That is an option now. You're no longer confined to English or Hindi for that case. Well, this is a new thing. School students to have 10 bagless days in a year where they are exposed to vocation of choice. Well, this is a kind of informal internship, training, etc., where you will not be required to carry your bag along with you, and you'd rather be given some sort of training. Well, these are all the changes for schools. Let's discuss what all changes are happening for the colleges. Well, as you know, that SAT, the Scholastic Aptitude Test, is the uniformed testing solution which majority of the colleges worldwide accept. Based on that score, you get admission into undergraduate courses. Well, now there will be a SAT type of test. Now you won't have to give different tests for, well, different tests for medical, different tests for engineering. Well, now it's a common test. That's a good thing. National Testing Agency to conduct common college entrance exam twice a year. Okay, that's a great thing. Now 4-year bachelor degree to be across the country. We used to see that somewhere there were it was a 5-year degree and somewhere it was a 4-year degree, but now it's a 4-year degree. That's it. Midterm dropouts to be given credit with option to complete degrees after a break. That means is if due to some reason you joined a course, for example, you joined engineering, did your first year, and couldn't complete or couldn't cope up with the burden, well, now you have an option to switch courses. What that essentially means is that your year will not go waste. In other words, if you did your first year with a particular course which you thought that you couldn't cope up with, well, you can take admission into another course, switch colleges, switch courses in between without wasting that 1 year. Well, that's a good thing. Well, it was always a case in countries like Australia, New Zealand, even China for that case, Singapore, well, America, UK, and the rest of Europe for that case. It was not a case in India. In India, when you basically left education midterm or dropped out from college, you ended up wasting that year. Well, now that will not go waste. That's a good thing. That's a huge thing, in my opinion. Well, the next thing is that over the next 15 years, colleges will be given graded autonomy to give degrees, affiliation with universities to end. So would deemed university status. Well, there is a lot of confusion regarding colleges and universities nowadays, folks. Some are universities, some are colleges, some are colleges affiliated to a centralized university like MDU or KUK for that case. Some are their own universities like SGT University. Well, then there is a concept of deemed university like Manav Rachna is a deemed university, I believe, and ITM is a deemed university, I believe. Well, now everything is going to simplify. Another thing is that, oh wow, now actually there is a fee cap. There is a maximum amount that these colleges and universities can charge from the student, and they can't charge above that amount, or else legal action can be taken amongst them. Well, that's a good thing. Well, now they just can't demand whatever they feel like. At least it would regulate all this that has been happening for years, and it's a good thing. Or else they would have charged exorbitant amounts, which they can't do now. Well, this is a huge thing, folks. Top rated global universities to be facilitated to come to India. Top Indian institutions to be encouraged to go global. Well, if you're talking about going global, well, the point is, Indian universities are actually really nice, but they're just confined to their own local area. You know what I'm saying? There is no college that is affiliated with Manipal University. For that case, it's a different university. It's a different concept. Whereas there are colleges that are affiliated to Cambridge University for that case. Well, with this, more top-rated global universities to be facilitated. So we could see more colleges being affiliated to Cambridge, Harvard, Stanford, stuff like that. Well, that's a good thing. And Indian institutions as well. Indian institutions to go global means that Indian institutions can open up a branch abroad. When we're talking about opening a branch abroad, we can, the one example comes to my mind: INSEAD. INSEAD France is a top business school. It has its campus in France as well as in Singapore. Similar concept here, folks. You can have multiple campuses in multiple countries. Well, Here are some major reforms. Board exams will be low stakes and test actual knowledge instead of role learning. So it's the end of mugging up things. They will actually test your in-depth knowledge about things. Mother tongue to be the medium of instruction till 5th grade. Report cards will be comprehensive report on skills and capabilities instead of just marks and statements. Well, in the report cards, we could now see a lot of additional columns where teachers would rate our skills and capabilities. It would really encourage us to improve upon those. Well, that's a good thing, folks. All separations between vocational and academic and curricular and extracurricular will also be removed. Well, now it's nothing as if that's vocational, that's academic, that is curricular, that is extracurricular. That all has ended, folks. You can choose whatever subject you like, whether it's from a vocational studies field or whether it's from an extracurricular study field. Well, great. Here, according to the Financial Express, the Cabinet has approved reforms in higher education that includes a target of achieving 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035. Well, yes, folks, that's a sad reality. Not even 50% of the students in India actually complete higher education. That's the sad reality. The government has also announced that there will be a provision for multiple entry exit into the system. Well, as we discussed earlier, you can leave your course anytime, midterm, come back after a gap of 6 months to a year, take admission into a separate college, into a separate course, and continue from where you left. That's a good thing. Then there is flexibility of subjects. A topic which has long been debated upon has finally been announced in 2020 National Education Policy. This means that students will be able to choose minor and major disciplines regardless of the subject combinations that have existed till now. Well, as we discussed earlier, you can mix and match subjects. You can take history along with physics and maths. You can leave chemistry if you don't like it. Well, now since everybody has to pass that common entrance test, well, now admission will be based on that, not based on your field. That's a good thing. Another aspect, the government highlighted that the new policy, graded autonomy, academic, administrative and financial autonomy will be given to colleges depending on the status of accreditation. Well, yes, they'll be autonomous. Colleges are going to get more autonomous with this move. Government is also planning to include UG programs of 3 and 4 years and PGs of 1 and 2 years. Well, that's a good thing, folks. Well, if someone wants to complete a undergraduate program for 3 years instead of 4 years, he can do that. Someone wants to do post-graduation graduation of 1 year instead of 2 years, he can do that. Well, there will be integrated 5-year courses for bachelor's and master's as well. Well, if you do a degree for 5 years, folks, you will essentially get a bachelor's as well as a master's degree. And when comparing with before, you're going to save 1 year in this process, which is always a welcome change. Nobody wants to waste a year. Well, this is huge, folks. Government has announced discontinuation of MPhil. Now you can't do MPhil, folks. Sorry. Go to some other country for that. For school education, the government has decided to include vocational training courses from middle school only, where students will also be given a chance to intern for around 10 days. Coding is also to become part of the school curriculum. Well, coding should have always been a part of school curriculum. We all need some basic. We all need to know some basic coding, how to make some programs. You know, how to write some programs in C, C++. Everybody should know it. I mean, it's not much of a big deal, but you must know it. You must be proficient with the computers. if you know what I'm saying. Strengthening the technological aspect in studies, e-courses will be introduced in regional languages. Well, that's a good thing, folks. Now you know you don't need to go to the college and attend courses. You can attend courses online. And a lot more colleges and universities are going to take part in it. College credit transfer and academic bank of credit will also be considered. College credit transfer is nothing, folks. If you leave the college and if you have completed 1 year, you have got some credits for that year. If you transfer colleges, those credits will get transferred and you won't be required to give those exams again. If due to some reason you failed in an exam, well, that will reflect in the credit transfer, as in your credits will fall short, and then you would be required to give that exam again in the college where you transferred. What the new education policy has, folks, is complete flexibility, complete choice for the student. Whatever he wants to do, he can. He's not limited. Sky is the limit now. He can mix and match subjects, he can change colleges, he can do whatever he feels like. The government has announced that it will be focusing on basic literacy and basic numeracy, and there will be major changes in the pedagogical structure of curriculum. That means there will be no rigid separation among streams. Well, as we discussed earlier, folks, you can mix and match stuff. For board examination, the policy proposes that there will be objective and subjective papers which will allow the students to be judged on the basis of their training. Well, that's a huge thing, folks. Well, board exams are no longer limited to those few questions that you need to answer on a 36-page booklet. Well, now there will be objective papers as well, like there have been with exams like AIEEE and IIT JEE and stuff like that. So that's a good thing, folks. In the end, I'd like to say it's a welcome change. I certainly approve of this. And it's a big thumbs up from me for the Indian government to at least consider this. Indian education system was outdated, pathetic, and quite irritating if you ask me. Children were ending up wasting so many years. Well, with this, children will not waste years. Children have complete flexibility. Children have complete independence. Well, the only gripe is that I wish that it had come earlier. When I was studying, I always had an interest in history, folks. I really had an interest in history. I would have taken it any day over chemistry in my 12th standard or 11th standard for that case. If not, I would have taken it as an additional subject. And then there were times when I wanted to leave my engineering, shift the field. Well, whatever happens for a reason, but now children will not waste their years. This is me, Tejasvi, signing off. I'll be back with another video soon. That's all, folks. That's all regarding the new education policy. If you liked what you saw, please do give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Comment if you'd like me make videos on a particular topic. And share this video with your friends and family. Goodbye, folks. See you tomorrow.